Hi, welcome to Outsmart Your Guitar. If you've never been here before, thank you for giving us a shot. We hope we provide you with stuff you're looking to learn. Today, we're in lead guitar concepts and we're going to be focusing on a slow blues in C minor. And this is part one. So let's get to it. But wait, hit that red button down in the corner and you'll be subscribed to Outsmart Your Guitar. Ring the notification bell and you'll be informed when new lessons are posted, which is usually around once a week. For an expanded version of this lesson, go to Patreon, Outsmart Your Guitar, and subscribe at the Backstage Pass level. In so doing, you will become a patron and you will be helping support my efforts to continue providing you with high-quality lesson material to help you learn, play, and grow in your guitar playing skills, to play the music you love. Sound good? All right. All right, slow blues in C minor. So the key is C minor. The chords are C minor 7, F minor 7, G7, and A flat 7. It's a standard short stack blues progression. And if you don't know what that means, it just means on the second measure, you go to the 4 chord and then you're back to the 1 chord on the 3rd and 4th measures. And then the rest of the progression plays out like a typical blues. All right, but I do have a bit of a different tag at the end. So the first thing we're going to do here, since this is part one, is we're going to work on your rhythm skills because I have a track set up where you're going to play rhythm. And you're going to play with a drummer and you're going to play with a bass player. Then you're going to play rhythm where a soloist is taking the lead and playing over the top of that so that you learn to lock in with the drummer and the bass player to help your timekeeping skills, because when you are playing rhythm, you're part of the rhythm section. And so you need to pay attention to the drummer and the bass player and what they're doing and how your part fits in, right? Okay, let's just get right to that. Let's look at the chords that make up the progression that you're going to learn to play. The first chord is C minor 7. It's at the 8th fret. Your root is on the 6th string. Now, if you don't know how to play a C minor 7, it's really quite easy. Can you play a 5th string major chord? Take your first finger away, leave your second or third finger in place across the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. Take your second finger, same fret, 6th string, that's the C, hump it over there, bend this joint, and kind of overlap the top of this finger, right? Like that. The idea is with bending this joint, whoops, you kill that string. And don't worry about the high E because the 6th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings pretty much cover everything the C minor 7 is made up of. Okay? Now, again, we're in 12/8. So the first note is a quarter note with a dot. So that's called a dotted quarter. For those of you who don't understand this, the dot is equal to half the value of the note to which it's attached. So a quarter note is made up of 2/8 notes. So the dot is equal to 1/8 note. So that means you hold that note for 3 beats. Because we're in 12/8, that's 3/8. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. The 4th beat is this, made up of 3/8 notes, right? Stacked up together. So you play that on 4, then you rest on 5. Rest means silence. Then you stay on 8, strike the strings, but immediately slide up to 10 for 6. Then for 7, you slide back without picking the strings and hold that for 7, 8, and 9. Now, the strings died, so let me do it a little bit in time. 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? Now, switch fingers. cover the 3rd and 4th strings at the 8th fret with your first finger and hammer on the 4th string at 10 for 10. Remove your 3rd finger, 11, and play the 10th fret of the 5th string for 12. So here's what this should sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right? So what you want to do is you want to pause, rewind, and listen to and watch the demonstration and the explanation. Get the sense of what it sounds like. Pause the video and then work it out mechanically, meaning what are my fingers being asked to do. Then, as you get that clear, start to count it out and slowly bring it in time. And once you've got it smoothed out, bring in the metronome and further refine your ability to play this in time and to put the notes right where they're supposed to be. Okay? Then, when you're ready to continue, press play, and we'll keep going to the next chord. Let's now look at the F minor 7 phrasing. Okay, so we have two figures here, figure 1 and figure 2. So we'll get to those in a second. Now, an F minor 7, just like this. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how to play an F minor 7, if you know a 7th chord rooted on the 6th string, literally move all 3 fingers over one string, like that. And then just butt into the low E string with your first finger to mute it. There you have it. Another way to approach the minor 7, if that's confusing, is play a minor chord on the 5th string. You know, just like that. You got to know that one, right? Lift your 4th finger off, and the 3rd finger is now played by your first finger. Or excuse me, the 3rd string is now played by your first finger. And that's the flat 7 tone of the minor 7. So there's 2 ways to look at it. Now, we're in 12, so you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So we know essentially the figure is played the same timing-wise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? Now, 10, we're over here, we're forming part of a D, sort of, right? But you're going to use your 2nd and 1st fingers here. And you're going to hammer on from 8 to 9 with your, or 8 to 10 with your 3rd finger. And it's, again, an ornament, so that's 10, 11, just remove your 3rd finger, and then, whoops, 12. Played right there. Okay? So here's how it sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, figure 2 is played the same until the last 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now you play the same bit as at the end of the C minor. 10, 11, 12. Just like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just like that. So pause the video, and if you need to rewind to watch the demonstration and pay attention to the timing and everything, it's no different than the C minor 7. Go ahead and do that. Then pause the video and start to work this out yourself. Again, this whole bit here really requires these fingers to be locked in. Whoops. for it to work right. If they're not locked in, that's what happens. You just saw what happens if it's not locked in. It's sloppy and it doesn't work. And some of the notes don't ring out. So you really got to learn to lock that in and move it like that. Okay? And slowly get it worked out mechanically, then start counting it out, then start smoothing it out, and then bring the metronome in and play it smooth and flowing. And you can literally play both of these back to back. That's a good way to practice them. And doing it with the metronome is even better. Okay? And then when you're ready to move forward, we'll get to the next figure. All right? Here are the G7 and A flat 7 chords. This is the beginning of the turnaround that gets you to the end of the progression. So a 7th chord, you should know these pretty well by now, right? So basically, it's just very straightforward. You know, you take your major chord, stand your 3rd finger up on the 4th string, add your 4th finger on the 2nd string, and your 1st finger now plays the 3rd string, because that is the flat 7 tone. All right? And then A7 is just 1 fret higher, the same chord shape. All right. We're in 12, remember? So your first beat is 1 and then 2, 3. Now, 4, 5, and 6, I want you to take a notice. Right above the notes, you see a dot above each note column. That is a staccato mark. And staccato means short and quick. So you cut it off like that. That's the short. So you would go 4, 5, 6. Now, you can mute here or you can use your palm. Now, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we move up to A flat 7, 7, 8, 9, and then again 10, 11, 12. So here's what you do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Just like that. Now, what you want to do is you want to pause the video. You can rewind and watch the demonstrations and pay attention when you do. Then pause the video and work this out yourself. This should be relatively easy compared to what you've been doing so far. You're just strumming chords at this point. It's the staccato thing you want to pay attention to. And you want the notes to actually sound, not be chopped off to where you don't really hear them. So they have to last just long enough, like that you can actually make out all the notes. Okay? And the timing of them must be precisely on beat. So work out the mechanics and then start smoothing it out, counting it out loud, and then put it to the metronome and make sure you're getting your timing right on the beat. All right? And then when you're ready to continue, we will keep going. Here are the final 2 measures of the progression to round it out. Now, you're using elements that you're familiar with. We're just adding a little bit extra ornamentation to facilitate the flow. So you start on C minor 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's familiar. 5 is silent. Now switch to your first finger on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Back to your second finger on the 6th string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Move up here with your first finger to 10 on the 6th string for 6. Then 7 is a single note. And then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right? Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now, pause the video, rewind if you want to watch the demonstration again, then pause and work this out mechanically, smooth it out, timing wise, counting, and then put it to a metronome. Again, beat timing, note timing. Getting your notes right on the beat is so critical that you need to do this. You need to be aware of it and get it happening right where it's supposed to be. And you will be happier for it because you'll be honing your skills. All right? So practice this for a couple of minutes with the metronome once you get it smoothed out. Then, when you're ready to move forward, we'll do just that. All right, now you have the individual bits of the progression. Let's put it all together now, all right? Time to put all the bits together, right? So, print out pages 5 and 6 if you haven't done that already of the written material, and you'll have the progression in front of you so you can see it. Now, the object here is quality of execution, not speed. I'll be playing at 150 beats a minute. That's the actual tempo. You can play at whatever tempo works for you if it's slower. The object, again, is quality of execution, not speed. You'll work up to 150 beats a minute the more comfortable you get with this. So I'm going to kick on the metronome and I'm going to start the count in at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, here we go. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to go back and listen to what I just did a second time. Pay attention to the metronome and notice where I'm sitting right on top of the beat. If you're a little ahead of the beat, your tendency will be to start speeding up. If you're a little behind the beat, your tendency will be to start slowing down. So you have to pay attention to your note placement. This is what I'm talking about when I say rhythm guitar is every bit, if not more, important than lead guitar, because rhythm is what sets the groove and gets you in the pocket and gets a song to move. Without that motion, a song isn't going to have the life you want it to have, right? This is why I emphasize rhythm skills so much and why the first part of this series is the rhythm guitar part, okay? So after you've listened back to that and gotten a sense of what I'm talking about, pause the video and set up your metronome at whatever tempo you can play and go through the progression multiple times till you're sitting nice and comfortable in the pocket, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you do it. You feel it, okay? Then, when you're ready to continue, go ahead and press play, and we'll do just that. All right, time to play with a full backing situation. So I've got a track for you at 120, 135, and what I'm going to be playing at 150 beats a minute. And you're going to be playing with drums, bass, and an acoustic guitar. You're going to provide the electric rhythm guitar part. All right? So pick whichever one is best suited to the tempo you're able to play at. And don't worry if it's slower. Slower is okay. You just have to be a little more precise, right? Okay, so let's take a shot at it. All right, here we go. All right, so now you have a good idea what the electric rhythm is going to sound like when you're playing with the other three members of the rhythm section. You're now the fourth member of the rhythm section, so make sure you get yourself blending in with them, sounding and meshing with them to sound good. All right? So what do you do now? Well, put on the rhythm track that's closest to your tempo, 120, 135, or 150. Now, if you're not quite up to 120, let's say you're at 110, that's okay. Here's what you do. Use the metronome at 110, get your quality of execution. Remember, quality of execution is what we're after here. Get it working. Then, when you've got yourself pretty smoothed out, move up to 112. And get yourself playing it properly. No slop, remember, no slop. Then you move up to 114 and do the same thing. Then 116, 118, and finally 120. All right? Then you're ready to use the backing track. All right, each backing track is 4 times through the progression. So the first time you play with the backing track, you'll be settling in and getting things feeling pretty good, right? And then the second time, you'll start beginning to get into the groove. The third time, you should be getting into the groove and now refining things a little bit. And then the fourth time, it should be a piece of cake. Now, if you're not really there at the third time, that's okay. We all have our challenges. I do too, even at my level. We just determined that we're going to conquer it. We're going to not let it stop us. We will overcome it and we will get better as a result, because that's how you get better. You meet the challenges that are before you and you overcome them. Okay? So you do that for about 20 minutes or so. And then when you're ready to continue, press play. All right, we're going to call it for this lesson. Now, I want you to not gloss over what you have been exposed to here. If you've jumped and skipped over stuff, go back and listen and learn. Knowledge is power. That's the adage, but it's true. As a lead guitar player, you really do want this information because it informs you. It gives you information you need to play a better solo. So knowing the chords, knowing the names of the notes of the chords, knowing the rhythm of the song and the feel of the song, let alone the major minor nature of the song itself. So with knowing the notes of the chords, are any of these notes not part of your scale that you can now include when you're playing over that chord? Or Maybe they work even when you're on another chord, even though those notes are not in those chords. But you never know, right? And that's the whole idea here. To inform yourself, to be better prepared when you enter the solo spotlight. That's the goal. To improve our skill set so that we're better tomorrow than we were today. Because of what we learned today, we're going to apply it tomorrow, right? And that makes us a better player overall. All right, when you're ready for part 2, it'll be there, as will I. We'll see you then.